It's CGI! That's what it was. She's never fucking heard of CGI. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and today I'm gonna be eating 1 pound of sushi grade salmon, some pickled radish, 2 extra large Haas avocados, hopefully not this entire dressing bottle, otherwise it's kind of sad. And I'm gonna, for my snack in between, I'm gonna do some vegan jerky. Just to give you a brief introduction before I start this, my name is Sarah and I'm doing this because I've always been really interested in mukbangs. Specifically, my first mukbang artist that I started following was Yuka Kinoshiro. She's amazing. I still follow her. I love her. And I realized that I've always wanted to make my own mukbang. So I wanted to add my personal touch and I thought about doing like true crime documentaries or maybe talking about like true crime cases. And then I realized that Stephanie Sue's done that, but she does an amazing job. And I was like, why don't we just have more of that? But besides like just like true crime stories, I also really want to honestly just talk about anything. So yeah. But so today again we're gonna do some sushi grade salmon. So I got this from my local supermarket. And everything's packaged still because I really love the idea of actually watching someone unpackage everything and, you know, preparing their food, just because then I feel like it's not just like, you're not just awkwardly watching someone eat, you're watching a journey. So again, I'm gonna unpackage this. So I've gotten this like 3 times actually, which is really sad. The first time I used it to make like nigiri and like sushi in general, and then the second time I just ate like half a pound of salmon by myself, which is fun, don't get me wrong, like I enjoyed it, but was it the right decision? Maybe not. This is a salmon, as you can tell, it's a fat piece of salmon, right? Yeah. I feel like I'm like just like low-key a really disgusting person because I love the noise that like food makes when it slaps against like a surface. Like, I don't know if you can hear it. I hope you can hear it. Okay, but it basically just sounds like super disgusting and relatively satisfying. Okay, so we're gonna have this. I'm gonna like, I don't know if I should just eat it like in bites or cut it. I might just eat it in bites. So I'm gonna cut this up. We're gonna cut up the radish. And so I love this pickled radish. I've eaten this, I think like the first time I tried this was when I was making kimbap with my roommate. It's pretty good. I personally really like pickled stuff, except for pickles themselves. I don't know why. So yes, I love this piece of, am I gonna eat like this entire thing? Probably. Am I gonna regret it and probably get like some kind of stomach acid or like stomach issue? Probably. I think I'm just gonna eat 1 piece of pickled radish just because I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and like use the restroom for like 3 hours. So we're just gonna open up this cutesy sesame dressing. Give me a second. You can get this from Costco or something, and it's like really addicting. Like one time I think my roommate just put this in our fried rice with some lettuce. Like, I know it sounds disgusting, it was like fried rice with cut up romaine lettuce, but it was pretty good. Like, I personally liked it. Alright, and so I also have a bowl of soy sauce right here. If you're interested in the brand, it's Yamasa Brewed soy sauce. And so first I'm gonna start eating, kind of get into it, describe how the salmon tastes, and then afterwards, then we're gonna start on our true crime story. Okay, I'm gonna slice off a little piece just to like get a good gist of it. Can you see I'm slicing it? I hope you can. So it's just like a little piece. It's like when makeup gurus like show what kind of brand or like what kind of color their makeup is. This is my salmon. It's sushi grade. So I'm gonna, first I think I'm just gonna dip it in the soy sauce. And like personally, okay, I don't know if it's because like when I was growing up my grandma cooked food with a lot of salt, but I love salt. I love soy sauce. I think that's why I'm like predisposition for like, what's it called? High blood pressure, maybe. So I'm gonna have a taste. Did you see me slurp that up? I hope you did. Okay, I know I should savor my food, but I'm like really bad at savoring. Okay, we're gonna do this again, but we're gonna try it with just the salmon. Oh, I'm putting it the wrong way. That's fine. Okay. So again, salmon. You can see the beautiful coloring. I think it's fucking perfect. I personally love salmon the most. I also have a bowl of wasabi here. My roommate had like some like horseradish paste, and so we just use that. I'm a really big fan of spice, so I always eat wasabi. It's amazing. Okay. And now we're gonna slice it the correct way, you know, before y'all roast the shit out of me. So I'm gonna slice off this piece. Don't worry, I'm gonna just like eat this like it's a fucking ham later. Look at this. This is so beautiful. So the first time I decided to buy a pound of salmon from my grocery store, I don't remember what was going through my head, but I was just like, you know what? Might as well. And since then, I think I did that like 2 weeks ago, like less than 2 weeks ago, and I've just been doing it since, and it's wonderful. So again, this is a new bottle because I feel like it's a journey. Oh, I don't know how to open this. It's fine. So I'm gonna pour some out onto here. So onto the other side of the wasabi. So seriously, if you've never tried this, it's at any Asian grocery store. I think I saw it at Target once actually, and it's also at Costco. They have like the big size. So we're gonna use this. I don't know if should I just eat this entire? Yeah. So I'm gonna dip it in here. Get a good. I'm a really saucy person. I know like when I'm eating like fries, I drench that shit in ranch, which is again pretty disgusting. But yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what I like the most. Oh, you know what? So the thing with the soy sauce, I feel like it cuts out on the salmon's like fattiness, but the sesame dressing is pretty fatty itself, so it's like it's good, but I don't know if it's what I would opt for, you know? Like personally, I think just the salmon with the soy sauce is perfect with some of the wasabi, or in this case like wasabi paste, I don't know. A shit ton of wasabi, and we're gonna add some soy sauce. I feel like if I'm dating someone, they need to be able to eat spicy food as well. Otherwise, I feel like there's a sense of disconnect, you know? Alright, so if you've noticed, there's been a little set change, mainly because my camera battery decided to die. Haha. But now we're back! Alright, so what was I doing? I think I was just eating. Yeah. So we're gonna continue eating, and then after that, I'm gonna tell y'all about the case of Amora Bain Carson. So if you've heard of this, then, well, I'm not surprised if you've heard of this. This is a pretty popular one. It's about a 13-month-old baby dying or like getting murdered and tortured, and so viewer discretion, warning advised. I'm sorry. Okay, so before we get started, I really want to try this out, and I also need to cut up the avocados. So let me actually do that right now. So I think I was talking about how I really love spicy food, and how my future significant other needs to love spicy food as well. Otherwise, I feel like there's some kind of disconnect. When I was a kid, my grandpa on my mom's side of the family would do this thing where like, you know those red peppers? Oh, beautiful avocado, kind of. It's okay. Would do this thing where he would make me eat like, not like make, but like encourage me to eat one of those like red pepper chili flakes in exchange for $1. Me being like 7, I thought $1 was like, I thought $1 meant I was Jeff Bezos in today's society. Shout out to Jeff Bezos, who has $134 billion and probably exploits his workers. But anyways, we're not gonna get political, but we are. So when I was a kid, I would eat like literally handfuls of peppers just for $1, and because it was fun. And so I feel like now I've kind of like not grown desensitized, but I just don't feel like spicy things are as spicy anymore unless they're like shit-face spice. Like the kind of spice that hits you instantly and you're on the fucking toilet for like hours on end and you feel like you are literally dying inside and you feel like the devil's like in your fucking asshole. Like that kind of spice is my kind of spice. Sorry. So I have some avocados over here. I cut it up in a really bad way now that I think about it, but it's fine. And okay, so I really like avocados. I know my cousin is allergic to avocados. She gets like really bad stomach pains, and in general she just doesn't like avocados. And I know like avocados is like that stereotype where it's like, oh my god, white people go crazy over avocados. It's probably true. And I think like I'm relatively cultured and I stick to my Asian roots, except for the fact that I am that stereotypical white girl for avocados. But it's fine. They're healthy. There's this Vietnamese smoothie or like Vietnamese type of dessert where you just get a bunch of avocados and you kind of like mix it with sugar and ice, obviously. And you make like this like avocado smoothie in a sense. It's so fucking good. My grandma would make it for me on like when like it was really hot. It was either that or like lemonade, but that wasn't fun. I also have a little lemon over here I'm gonna bring out. So we're just gonna use the lemon and drench it on everything. Just add a little acidity to cut the fattiness. My little sister can eat lemons like nothing, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. And sometimes like, you know how they give you like lemons in water, or like they add lemon or a slice of lemon in your water? Okay, PSA, most of the time that means that the water is disgusting, so don't drink it. And that's why they have the lemon to mask the taste. But anyways, so she fucking loves the lemons, right? One time we were at a pho restaurant and obviously they had like the water cups with like lemons, and this bitch takes out that lemon slice and eats it. And it was embarrassing because I was there and I was just like, and she, I don't know, like, but then again, I'm doing this, so I really can't like give her shit for it, because I guess like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Okay, I'm gonna cut up another slice of avocado, or of salmon. I don't know if I just want to eat it. It's a fucking apple, maybe. So, ooh, we're gonna do a little, like the kind of wraps you get when you're at like a sushi place. I can't actually make this the flour shit, but this is close enough. Wow. It's like bacon avocado, but instead it's with salmon. Okay, that didn't have any avocado in it. I'm gonna actually add some wasabi to this. A little bit of wasabi. Dip it in some soy sauce. Oh my god. Oh. Give me a second. So the textures just meld into one because like obviously avocado is really like, it's fucking soft. And I made sure to like ripen the avocados too. And so the avocado and the salmon have very similar textures, except for the fact that salmon's a little like, there's like some kind of pull. It's not like tuna pull, but there's like some kind of texture and an obvious taste. So like it just blends in. But the thing is, it's not super creamy. It's not like when I dipped it in the sesame dressing, it's creamy. It's like, it makes sense creamy. Some more soy sauce. Ooh, you know what's good? I don't know if y'all have ever tried pickled radish. If you like pickles, if you like pickled vegetables in general, it's fucking good. Okay. So now we're gonna start on the story of Amora Bain Carson. And again, viewer discretion advised. This is a really, honestly, it's a really disgusting story. The reason why I'm saying it is because it really pisses me off. And one of the main culprits or like suspects was put on the death row, but they ended up like getting his case pushed. This happened in December 2nd, 2008, right? And he was convicted on that day and put on death row and everything, but it's 2020 and he's still here. And I think the last update that I could find was in like January 2019, and that's because that's when his case was pushed. And so let's start off. So 20-year-old Jessica Carson and her live-in boyfriend, also 20 years old, Blaine Millen, called 911 to report that they had come home from a pawn shop to find their 13-month-old baby dead. And their baby was named Amora Bain Carson. And so police came and they found that the baby was already like, her body was in rigor mortis. So like, keep in mind that rigor mortis, or the biochemical changes that kind of stiffen your body and put you in that state, take roughly 2 to 6 hours. Most of the time it's like 6 hours if you look it up. And actually like in order to get through like jaw, neck, down to your body, extremities, I believe it all gets completed within like 6 to 12 hours. So it's like, how long was your trip to the pawn shop, you know? And why was your baby left alone for that long? So that's the first thing. So during the initial call, Jessica Carson, who is the biological mother, Millen is just like, boyfriend, all right? She was crying and claiming to be performing like CPR on the kid. Police came. The kid was in like some weird like hole inside their living room or inside their bedroom, right? And that was kind of sus. And then they also noted that she had a lot of injuries all over her body. Her face was fucking deformed. Her head was like bashed in. It looked like someone had like used a blunt like object to like bash her head in, right? She had several bite marks all over her body. It was just disgusting. And police had to like, obviously they brought her in. Forensic analysis like immediately started on the autopsy. Basically the forensic analyst saw that she had been beaten so badly that the multitude of fractures to her skull like connected with each other like jigsaw puzzles. Her brain was torn and severely damaged because, let's face it, the suspect probably used like some kind of blunt object like a hammer or a pipe or a bat, something like that, right? And this ended up causing like internal bleeding in her brain, and it ended up like pushing her retinas out. So her retinas were fucking detached from her like face. And so again, like her body was riddled with bite marks, her liver was torn, it was just disgusting. But I think the people doing the autopsy said that the worst injury was this is kind of like disgusting, and like this entire thing is disgusting, but was her vaginal and anal orifices. They were basically torn. They were so torn that the vagina and the rectum were actually connected, right? And just imagine that. And the injury forensic examiner actually said that they've never seen anything like that. And so, yeah. People examining the case assumed that it's because there was probably some kind of sexual assault or rape. And so there's no actual conclusion as to like what happened, like how did she die. The consensus is strangulation because based on her her neck and her eyes, there was a lot of hemorrhaging, so people just automatically assumed like that's it, that's what happened. They're, like the strangling part is what caused it. So we're gonna take a break from the story and kind of like, because it's a lot, especially when you consider the fact that it's like a 13-month-old baby, and like you hear about these stories and you think it's fucking ridiculous and it's crazy, and it wasn't until I actually like went through news articles and the actual case files where they had pictures of her and Jessica and Blaine together, and it's fucking disgusting. Yeah, so that's a case. Now we're gonna take a quick food break because I can only eat so much while talking about these things, right? So I think normally I have like a pretty strong stomach. Like if you've ever seen the show My 600 Pound Life, that shit is my jam. That is my fucking religion. I love that shit. I always watch it with my friend back at home. We get into like his bed and we just kind of like chill and we just like watch it, and it's like, wow. I feel like eating it like this, I thought it would be like really satisfying to eat it like this, but honestly I just feel kind of gross. Salmon is amazing, honestly. I think the first time as a kid, like whenever we would go out to eat like sushi and stuff, my parents never let me eat, or my mom in particular never let me eat like raw stuff because she was scared I was gonna die or like get some kind of like food poisoning, which is understandable. And so like it wasn't until I was actually like in middle school or something, no, it was high school. In high school when I was like, fuck, this is amazing. She's just been lying to me all these years. And she said I was gonna die or something. And also, she told me that if I ate raw salmon or like raw fish or raw food without like wasabi or something super spicy, that I'm definitely gonna like shit my brains out or something. Oh my god. Let's add some avocado. The lemon is really obvious. Like, I'm glad I added that. High blood pressure. I think it's kind of sad that I'm like 20 and like probably have high blood pressure, but I can always blame my family for it, I guess. Like when I went to a doctor, they were like, bitch, you need to chill out. But I love salt, you know? Especially when I went, I was vegan for like about a year or so, on and off, and I've been like pescatarian. And then I was vegetarian, and now I'm pescatarian just because of health issues. But I think it's because when I was vegetarian and vegan, like, I love salty things. And I feel like you can't really get salt from salad or like shit like that, you know? You need to add a lot of seasoning, and just in general, I've always been really big on seasoning. I feel like food needs to have flavor, you get me? Like, of course, food already has its own flavor. I don't know, I feel like... Oh, that was a big piece. I shouldn't have eaten that piece. I'm not gonna show you, sorry. I think it's kind of weird how I don't like pickles, but I do like pickled vegetables. Like, I haven't tried actual pickles in like years, I think. Like by themselves. But I always think it's so fucking weird when people just eat like pickles from the jar. Like there was this girl I met in my first year of college. Cool girl, awesome. Thought we were gonna be best friends. But then she told me that she ate pickles from a jar, and I was just like, alright. I haven't spoken to her since. Not because of the pickles thing, just because we went through like our own paths, but it's probably one of the reasons why. I really like eating avocados alone. I used to do this thing where I just like take the avocado and like mash it up, add some garlic powder, chili powder, and there's also this mushroom seasoning that my grandma gets like from like in this like huge package from just like Asian grocery stores in general, right? That shit's good too. Okay, enough of the avocado. Let's get back to this. Okay, I'm probably gonna eat like a couple more bites before I dive back into the case. I'll probably just eat during the case. I also got my nails done. I did them myself. My parents are really good at nails. They got licensed to be nail technicians and everything. And so I guess it runs in the blood. Probably blood. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna have a little snack. I actually started on this vegan jerky like before I started filming the video because it's so good. There's this thing called ko ba in Vietnamese. It's like basically like just like Vietnamese style jerky, and this tastes exactly like it, and it makes me so happy because like I haven't had that shit in years. Alright? For one thing, it's like hella expensive. For another thing, I don't eat meat, so it's like I've been missing out. I found this. I actually wasn't gonna buy it, but then I saw it and I was like, you know what? I want a snack. Okay. Now getting back on the case. So we talked about what happened to Amora Bain Carson, her injuries, stuff like that, right? And so diving back into the crime scene. Blood splatter stains, consistent with blunt force trauma everywhere in the south bedroom in particular, so that wasn't the area they found her body in. Keep that in mind. When the police continued searching, they also found like blood on bedding, baby clothes, diapers, wipes, and interestingly, a tube of Astroglide lube. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, we're all thinking the same thing. And jeans. Interestingly enough, jeans. But it was just on the lap. And of course, like all this blood is Amora's blood. And so the story ended up being exposed by, guess who? Jessica. Dumb bitch. But basically, when the police started investigating her, asking her a lot of questions, they found it suspicious because she kept changing the story, for one thing. Like first, she said like, oh my god, I don't know what's happening to my baby, I'm using like CPR, all that. And then she said like, oh my god, maybe she was attacked by like family dogs and stuff, right? By the way, rude. I don't know, I just thought I always think it's kind of fucked up when people bring like their pets into this. That's just me ranting. So she claimed that Amora was attacked by family dogs. And then she changed her story and claimed that Amora must have beaten herself over the head with a hammer. Like, alright, bitch. So by then the police were like, what the fuck? And so they just continued like asking her questions, investigating her. And keep in mind, at this point she's 20 years old, right? So basically Jessica kind of confessed, but she mainly like, I think she thought she was being smart, and she thoroughly believed in the idea that Amora was possessed, right? And so you're probably wondering, because I was wondering, like, okay, why does she think her 13-month-old baby was fucking possessed? And apparently it started under the assumption that Blaine himself was possessed. And so the two lovebirds, star-crossed lovers, whatever, they met when she was pretty young, in the beginning of like 2008, right? From what I've read. So they met, he proposed on prom night. Truly a love story. that Taylor Swift would sing about, right? And apparently, like, he was in love with her. He loved Amora as well. Or so we think. And somewhere along the lines, he started acting kind of weird. Alright? His expressions were different, the way he talked was different. He wasn't acting like himself. And of course, Jessica, being the love of his life, noticed. And she was asking, like, what's wrong? Like, what's up? He basically said that he was possessed by a demon, or that Satan had somehow decided that this man is worthy, or that I want to fucking go inside this man for some goddamn reason, right? So he's possessed. And during his possession, he was able to talk to, like, dead people and, like, angels and stuff. Like, he was just doing a lot of shit, basically, while he was possessed. Multitasking. And I'm sorry for my terrible jokes. I think they're funny. Kind of. Not really. But, so this bitch was possessed. And when he was in that possessed zone, he was under the assumption that a demon was gonna take over Amora, and that Satan was gonna trap her soul, and that he had to kill her, or not kill her, but kill the demon in her, because she was no longer in that body. That wasn't her, that was the demon, right? And so he needed to kill the demon, aka the baby. And somehow Jessica believed him. On December 1st, 2008, Blaine, quoted, said, "God says there's things that you don't need to know right now." And just with that phrase, Jessica was like, okay, I believe this man, I entrust this man with my entire fucking life, with my baby's life. And so they decided to perform an exorcism. But okay, Jessica was smart enough to say, or not smart enough, but she thought about it, and she was like, why don't we take her to a priest so that they can do that, because they're probably somewhat qualified, right? Imagine when you're applying to be a priest on LinkedIn and the requirements are 3+ years of exorcisms. That's it. But Blaine was against this. He was like, and apparently it was a demon inside of him talking. Again, it's weird, is he possessed or not? Like, who knows? But Blaine was saying, like, no, I need to do the exorcist. Like, God gave me the right. He knows that I know how to, and all that shit, right? I don't know. And then Jessica was like, alrighty, have at it. And keep in mind that some other evidence is like surfaced up as to like why Blaine thought that Amora was possessed. There are instances where like she would bite him, and I guess like it was to the point where it would draw blood. There was this one time where Jessica took a picture of her, or Blaine Millam took a picture of her, and for some reason her eyes came out really like slanted and warped, and she just looked fucking weird, which is, it's 2008, it makes sense. And keep in mind, the entire time Blaine's trying to like convince Jessica that he's fucking possessed, and he's also telling her the reason why he is possessed, the reason why this is happening to the family is because bitch was lying to him. He basically said, God is tired of you lying to me as in like Blaine. And so he decided to fuck over your entire family. And she believed him. I don't know what he thought she was lying about. I think when I was looking over instances, like kind of emphasizing their relationship and going over what kind of like couple dynamic they were, he was immensely jealous, like crazy jealous. Okay, we'll get more into that later. But basically, this was an exorcism, right? Apparently, when he would beat Amora, he would start crying, and it's because he was like, oh my god, I feel so bad, I'm killing Amora, I'm beating Amora. And like Jessica was there, I guess like when he would confess like how guilty he felt, she was also there. I don't know where she was. They didn't explicitly say like when he said these things, but basically She was like, no, babe, it's fine. That's not actually Amora. It's just a demon. Like, all right, man. It's just a fucking demon, I guess. But I would still, like, okay, if I was genuinely under the assumption, like, genuinely in my core, believe that my child was fucking possessed, I'd still kind of be weirded out if my fucking boyfriend was beating the shit out of the body, you know? Like, even if it's, like, a fucking demon, I'd be like, if you watch the actual, like, Exorcist, or not the Exorcist, but The Conjuring, like, it feels wrong. Even if you know, or you're under the impression that it's a demon. If you're a decent human being, if you're not, like, a total shithead, corrupt in the fucking heart and everything, you'd be kind of weirded out. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Another thing. So, like, on the day, December 1st, 2008, he woke Jessica up. He was like, babe, Amora's possessed by a demon. Like, she can walk now. And obviously that means she's a fucking demon. Because I guess, like, at 13 months old, you're not able to walk at all. And it has to be God punishing you. So, Malam took the child to the back room, right? So this is, like, the back, south room, the one that I brought up that was, like, super fucking bloody. He wedged the door shut. So Jessica Carson, wasn't able to, like, access this at the time, and she wasn't entirely sure what was happening. But she did hear Amora scream. She heard the weapons being used. She heard her being beaten. But when she was being investigated and in an interview, she said she was able to hear the screams of the demon. So not the baby, not Amora. She just considered it like, I heard the demon screaming. Which is, I don't know, I think that's really interesting. And I feel like that's kind of like her way, her mind's fucked up way of trying to make her feel less guilty. Because, I don't know, you just have to be fucking insane, right? Weird thing. When Malam went, he decided to go to Walmart. I don't fucking know why. But apparently, like, later on, it shows that he used ropes. I don't know why he needed the ropes. I guess if we're thinking of, like, an old-fashioned exorcist, like, they tie the fucking demon to the bed and shit, but, like, this is a 13-month-old, you know? And so, when he went to Walmart, instead of checking on her baby, instead of checking on Amora, she was just like, Carson was just like, whatever. She was just waiting for him to come back, and I think that's fucking disgusting, right? Add a little more sesame. Okay. But yeah, Carson basically admitted to knowing, like, what was kind of happening because, again, she heard the demon screaming, and when Malam would come out for some fucking reason, just because he was having doubts or he was feeling like, oh my god, I feel bad, or there was some point where you came out and he was like, I'm so tempted to just, like, give my soul to the devil so that he would free up the child so that Amora was okay. And when he brought this up to Jessica, she was like, no, don't do it. Don't kill yourself like that. Don't give yourself up like that. It's not right. So instead, we're just going to do that to your 13-month-old daughter. All right. So at this point, they were both put in jail, obviously. And on December 13, Teresa, Jessica's sister, came to visit her and basically just, like, ask her what the fuck happened. Right? Keep in mind, at that point, Jessica wasn't talking to any of her family. They got together in the beginning of 2008. By mid-2008, October at the latest, she just cut off ties with her family. Right? And this is under the assumption that, of course, they had a very toxic relationship. Blaine was super controlling, super manipulative. And so it's like stuff you hear about an abusive family or abusive couple. It's so good. Interestingly enough, she didn't just, like, ghost everyone. She also left under the claim that her mom had killed her dad. I don't know. Like, that was just fucking whack. Her mom didn't kill her dad from from what I saw, but there's that. And just to dive back, how the demon like kind of like came to begin with, they decided to get a Ouija board, right? Because Blaine's father had recently passed and they were like, you know what? Let's use a Ouija board. It's not like there's movies and YouTube videos and just news articles about how terrible Ouija boards are. What the fuck, am I right? So they got the Ouija board, and apparently that's how the demon came to possess them. I guess they couldn't follow the fucking rules on that board where it's like, you know, everyone keep your hands there, don't piss off the demon. If it's a bad demon, make sure you say bye, like the correct way. Don't fucking take your hands off. Like, they didn't follow that shit at all. And so that's how the demon came to be. And so Teresa, Jessica's sister, like I was saying, came to visit her, right? Because she just wanted to know what was up. Add some soy sauce. And Jessica was super desperate. She was like, I need to get out. I need to go back to the house because there's some evidence there, right? And their house is in Tatum. This is in Texas, obviously. And Teresa was like, I'm gonna be okay. Somehow the aunt got a hold of that information and, you know, being the only reasonable person there, decided to call Sergeant Rogers and told him that basically there's stuff under the house and Jessica's trying to get out and she's trying to convince Teresa to do it too, her sister, which I can understand. I recently also watched, I'm sorry, this is gonna like go off topic, but I recently watched Gone Girl, and spoiler alert, again, like the husband is convicted of murdering or kidnapping his wife, right? And the sister, the husband's twin sister, is there for him the entire time. Like, even though like at some point she thoroughly believes that like, oh my god, my fucking brother is a serial killer, or like he's a murderer, right? Like, even though she believes that, like she's still helping him, and she's like, I need you to tell me everything so that I can help you. And like, I get that, you know, like I have a younger sister. If she killed someone, would I help her? I don't think I'm allowed to say that. I don't know. I mean, she hasn't, don't worry, but I guess I can understand it. Not really, kind of. But well, aunt, not being a sibling, calls Sergeant Roger and tells him there's shit underneath the house and that they need to get it out because it's fucking evidence, right? And so with this information, the sergeant's able to get a search warrant. Wonderful. And so he goes underneath the house. It's like in the porch area. He uncovers a fucking pipe wrench. And guess what? Remember when I mentioned that there was blood on some lube? The lube was also on the pipe wrench. And remember when I said that her vaginal and anal orifices were fucked up? You can guess what happened. And so there was no doubt that not only did he torture her by, you know, fucking hitting her or like bludgeoning her with a fucking wrench or hammer. The weapon of choice was actually a hammer in regards to the whole like killing her, but he also used a pipe wrench and sexually assaulted, or if we're being real, he raped her with it. I feel like a lot of cases where there's rape involved go under the alias of like sexual assault, because sexual assault is bad, but it's not as bad as rape. You get me? At least that's what society thinks. I feel like a lot of cases and issues are undermined because of that, or they're just kind of ignored, which is really fucking shitty. And I don't know. But yeah. So going back to the case in general, they found out he fucking raped her, he did all this shit, and then some more interesting information comes out. So during the time of Amora's death, Blaine was put under probation for a secondhand felony charge, right? So he was convicted of that. And guess what? This motherfucker, 20 years old, he broke into a 13-year-old girl's like bedroom, and he went through her fucking underwear drawer, and then I don't know why he did this. He left like pornographic images there with like super sexually explicit messages. And he did this when he was dating Jessica too, I believe, which is again fucking weird. Gonna be my last. I think I'm just gonna eat it like this. Yeah, fuck it. Right? And so, as I was saying, he was basically found to be a sexual predator. Was he convicted? No. So basically, there was a lot of issue with the whole, oh yeah, you're a fucking sexual predator. And he was put behind bars, and he was supposed to be there for 180 days, so he probably wouldn't have had the chance to kill Amora right away. But guess what? He was behind bars for 48 or 46 days, and he left and never came back. And then he fucking moved counties. Texas state officials, again, it's in Texas, yes. They said they just lost track of him, and they were like, oops. And so no one had any idea that there was a fucking sexual predator. No one knew he was living there. And so yeah, the defense attorney, or the district attorney, Michael Jefferson, whatever, basically said that there are issues with probation, and when you're on probation, you're not allowed to be in jail and shit like that, and so he was able to get out scot-free. And because, again, Texas state officials lost track of him. And so, just to kind of wrap this up, Jessica, when she was on trial, she used her whole like Fifth Amendment rights, and she didn't say shit, and she's now she has a life sentence without any possibility of parole. Blaine, on the other hand, interestingly enough, was about to be put on death row. And keep in mind that during his trial, all of his attorneys, his defense attorneys, were basically saying like, this man is mentally ill. Like, he doesn't comprehend fully what he's doing wrong. Which, again, we've heard so many fucking times. If you're caught up in crime scenes, like, a lot of the times, like, defense attorneys will try to say, like, this person is ill, this person isn't, like, they're not mentally well enough. But it's like, I don't know, I guess, like, it's not an excuse. It's a reason, but it's definitely not an excuse, in my opinion. Would I kill them? We're not gonna talk about that. But, so he was put on the death row, and he was supposed to actually be like one of the first men to like actually get killed or be put to death in Texas, but like the 559th person in like the US. This all happened in 2008. The last update was in 2019, January, when the court actually stayed his death penalty. They were like, you know what? He just wasn't in his right mind. He is not, he's not able to fully comprehend the situation, what he's doing, to really understand that he's being a shit person, which is kind of ridiculous. No, it's not kind of, it's pretty fucking ridiculous, right? And so yeah, 2020, he's still alive. It's not the kind of ending we hoped for, but it's similar to a lot of endings that you hear in true crime podcasts, and just like true crime stories in general, where the person obviously gets off scot-free. And you're probably like, how the fuck do you get off scot-free? Why, like, how can you really make an argument that he's like mentally handicapped or mentally challenged, right? And apparently, his defense attorney, or the one who was on his case, he spent 4 months with him. The guy's name was Steven Jackson, right? And he said he spent 4 months on the case with Blaine, and afterwards he brought up how like the only thing Blaine would fucking talk about are cartoons. Like, that's all he would talk about. It seemed like he was literally a child, or he had the mind of a child, which is really interesting. And he goes further to say that, like, when the jury was trying to come up with the verdict, like, do I put this man on death row? Yes, no. The two of them were just in a room, and they were just watching Scooby-Doo. And when the verdict, or when the jury, by the way, my final piece of salmon, I'm sorry. Since we're coming to an end, we're gonna try to dip it in everything. It sounds disgusting. It is. I just realized I only ate one avocado, but that's fine. And I didn't get to finish the pickled radish, but maybe I'll just continue it. And so when the jury finally decided on the verdict, they knocked on their door, and the only thing that Blaine said was, can I finish? Can I finish watching Scooby-Doo? Like, the episode's not done. And that kind of shows you what kind of person he was. And also, interestingly enough, during another interview, they were interviewing Tammy Russell, who is Blaine's cousin. She apparently said The Exorcist was real. So, like, the movie The Exorcist, right? You remember where the girl's, like, fucking her head spinning around like she's an owl and she's, like, puking everywhere. Fun. But she said it was real. And the interviewers were like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's real? And she was really under the assumption that it was real because who else can, like, spin their head like that, you know? That's not natural. I guess Tammy's never heard of editing, or she just doesn't get how a movie works. But yeah, he's still alive. Jessica's in jail with no possibility of, like, a parole, and Amora's dead. I finished the salmon, and now we're gonna move on to dessert, which is a Malona that my amazing roommate's gonna get for me. So honestly, I don't really like Malona. Very unpopular opinion, but like, I thought I liked Malona. First, I really liked, okay, I do like the green melon one, right? But I thought I just liked Malona because everyone else liked it, right? Thank you. But then, I think a couple months back, I went to this place called Food Max. It's amazing. I love Food Max. And they had Malonas, and it was like 2 for $1, right? And I was like, holy shit. Because normally when I go to a grocery store, Malonas are like $7. Actually, wait, I don't know if they're $7, but they're probably $7. So I was like, fuck yeah. So I bought like 4 boxes. No, I bought 2 boxes. And I realized I don't like Malona. But thanks for the Malona. So here we have Malona. It's a nice shade of pink. It's strawberry, as you can tell, and it kind of matches my nails. I don't know if I should just bite it. I could not have been it. My little sister is the weirdest shit ever. She does this thing. I don't know if it actually like, I don't know if she can actually do it or she just does it because she's like stubborn as hell. Every time we get ice cream, she just eats it. Like she just bites down on it, right? I feel like it's her way of asserting dominance. I don't know what else. I think I just don't really like sweets in general. Because growing up, we didn't eat that many sweets, and I think it's because my grandma has diabetes. Another predisposition. And so every time there was like dessert or something, she'd be like, I have diabetes, I can't eat this. And since then, there's just been this like negative connotation. I do like fruit though. She eats a shit ton of fruit. She like does this thing where, and I do it too now. I make like brown rice. I have like some mangoes and I just chop it up and add some like soy sauce. And it's a fucking meal. It sounds disgusting. It sounds weird, but okay. Y'all eat mango like sticky rice all the fucking time, so you can't judge. This bologna is pretty good actually. My roommate just glared at me. This isn't my bologna, but it's fine. You know what I realized that I hate? Like the second I started buying my own groceries, I realized how fucking expensive everything is. Like you remember those drumsticks, like the ice cream? My parents would always, well not always, like once in a blue moon buy them for us, right? And I was like, fuck yeah. Okay. A couple months back, I was having like major cravings. And I was like, I want a fucking drumstick. But it's like $7 for 4. I don't know if it's because of the brand. I don't fucking know. I couldn't find the generic brand. I was at like some weird niche like supermarket. So I think that's why they didn't have a generic brand, because no one knows who the fuck they are. But anyways, it was like $7 for 4. And when I tried it, it wasn't even satisfying. So now I'm super salty. I think that was the worst part of growing up. I'm sorry, you're like watching me like eat this like it's a fucking chicken wing. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching my video. This is my first video, so I was super nervous. I know this is a very weird topic, especially when I started talking about the fucking nasty ass gore. But, and I'm not saying that we should all become like desensitized to these kinds of things, but I think as humans we need to be more open about talking to these issues. Like, we need to be open about talking about rape and sexual assault and murder, because they're real life issues. And I feel like if you keep it quiet, you're just, I feel like it's not really shining a light on it that it deserves. And I feel like it lets people get away with some things, like lying. Yeah, it's 2020. This is a decade where you stop giving a fuck and you call people out for their shit. And yeah. So yeah, just a final comment. If you guys like the video, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment. If you have any like really cool mysteries or like true crime stories, or just anything, honestly, like, feel free to leave a name in the comments below. And I'll get to it, because obviously I have nothing else to do. And share this with your friends if you want them to be like grossed out, but also well informed. And yeah. Thank you. Bye.